Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a pre-owned Rivian R1S. We're going to see if the R1S is holding its value or if it's depreciating like a rock, just like the R1T, which is its sibling vehicle, just truck version. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Dodge Ram here in Spanish Fork for giving me some time with this R1S. I'll include a link to the website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide as well. Let's get into it. So let's start with the EV specs. This has the larger battery pack and the quad electric motor setup. So it puts out 835 horsepower and then 908 pound-feet of torque. And then range on this is over 300 miles, 321 is the EPA rating. Now before we pop open that front trunk, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. And let's pop her open. Pretty seamless. So yeah, we do have this front storage space, which adds to the practicality. Makes this more of a grocery getter, and Rivian's finally fixed the whole system to where it's pretty darn reliable in terms of always opening and closing when you use it. You got that cool light bar there on the front end too, which I don't know, I really appreciate. I think it looks really cool. The charging port's also there on the side as well. You've got some fog lights, recovery points, so it's got all the off-road SUV stuff. Now our tire wheel setup is 275 by 55 by 21 in the front and over in the rear. So yeah, this has the slightly larger wheels and the street tire setup, or more street oriented. Air suspension as well, and then I think that's pretty cool. It kind of makes it look a little bit more rugged, the body cladding. Not a fan of the pop-out door handles, but it does have them if you like pop-out door handles. And cool boxy design for an EV, right? Now I do think the key fob for the Rivian's pretty cool. It's the carabiner key fob, but you've got the front trunk opening, you've got the rear lock and unlock. Had a little hiccup there, that was funny. But yeah, we'll open up the hatch, which is pretty cool. So it's got a tailgate. My wife and I have a Toyota Land Cruiser, and so this is kind of similar to the Land Cruiser. And you also have a third row. It's not massive. You can fit adults in the third row, which is nice. And you can see here, for folding the seats down pretty easy, got an outlet in the back as well. But yeah, I think they did a good job with building out the practicality in the R1S. I forgot where the button is. And then you've got that light bar there on the back end as well. And this of course leads us inside. Really nice trim all across the door panel, like this too. It goes across, and pretty tight feeling. I like that trim too. And then here are the seats. I think they did a good job with the design. Kind of have that rugged look. Legroom back here, it's good. Got this little kind of storage pocket. It's kind of cool with the USB. And then notice we do have our own climate zone here in the rear if the camera will focus. There we go. And then of course we got the glass roof, and then you can see the grab handles up top. And this leads us up front. So you can see same thing with the door panel trim, blind spot ring with the mirrors. And then here's the front seat. It says Rivian on it. Perforated all down the center. You've got your adjustments there on the side. Pretty cool pedal layout. And again, that nice trim on the dash. And getting in's pretty easy. Now this does kind of have a little bit of give already. So if I put my foot on the brake, it'll fully pop it on. Unlike Tesla, well, most Teslas, you actually get a gauge cluster in the center. Like Tesla, multifunction controls on the steering wheel, and also column shifter, which is interesting to say the least. And then 360 camera system with it. Decent resolution, not the best. They have made some updates with this. So first off, this is able to use Tesla Supercharger Network. Tesla's opened that up. I'm sure that's going to make Tesla a boatload of money in charging fees. But notice the vehicle tab's really easy to basically use everything with it. So like if I want to open up the front, you can just press that, for example. And if I press this, this will show the different drive modes and everything. Again, easy to access, also easy to change the ride height. So all of this is easy enough to use, and it better be because everything's controlled on the screen. Just like a Tesla, this center screen does everything for the car, from the climate controls to the drive modes to the music. I mean, it is all there in the center. And then you can see the vents down below. And then we got all this storage space here. I wonder if this one has the... Yeah, it's got a little speaker, which is always cool. And then with the center console, there we go. Yeah, pretty good storage. I like the trim here on the top. The nice headliner, and then we got a big glass roof. Now, whoever bought this must have bought this before the price increases, because... yeah, you can see adventure pack, quad motor, large battery, all of that, $77,300. I mean, I think this build now is like 90 grand, roughly. But this pre-owned with about 10,000 miles is selling for just a little bit under that. So yeah, if you got this at this pricing, you're getting a great deal, right? 10,000 miles and you basically don't lose a lot of money. But yeah, if you're paying the $90,000 price tag, well, then you're gonna lose some money in depreciation. Let's drive it. Let us set off in the R1S. Visibility, by the way, pretty good with the boxy design. Now it seems like the R1S so far is faring a little bit better compared to the R1T with resale. And I think that kind of makes sense because SUVs, you know, trucks are good, but SUVs just always seem to be, especially cool SUVs, seem to be a little bit more popular. And I mean, I am not in the market for either R1S or R1T. But if I had to choose out of the two, I'd probably rock this. Just because I like the looks a little bit more, and I like SUV practicality. I like the third row. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the SUV is just a little bit cooler. The truck with the longer wheelbase, though, does drive better. Like, it's more comfortable. So there is that. And let's go to the vehicle tab. Ride height low. So let's pop up to standard. Whenever you have an, if you don't know, whenever you have an air suspension vehicle with a low ride height, it's just always uncomfortable. It's always kind of firmer. Ride feels soft. Regen standard. Yeah, pretty good with the regen. Smooth ride. I will say that. And it seems like there's not too much wind noise and all of that. Yeah, it's got some power. The thing about these EVs is they've got so much power, but it's not really usable on road. I mean, when you're, you know, highway on ramp, you can use it, but it's pretty much it. Outside of that, it's just too much. Too much to be practical. Man, that is weird, that house setup. Utah develops so fast that they just develop right, develop right around people's houses. The person used to be in the middle of the country, and now they're in the middle of whatever we're in the middle of now. Crazy. Yeah, the damping's not too bad. I'm not super impressed with it. You know, another SUV with a boxy design and air suspension is the Land Rover Defender. The Defender has better damping than this. Again, this isn't bad, but I'd say it's not as good as, say, the Defender, for example. But yeah, of course the power is really smooth. I'll pop it into the sport mode here. Of course, it's going to lower the ride height, which means when we go back over the train tracks, it's going to be extra firm. But seriously, is it just me or is this hilarious? Like, you've got this... like, look at this. You got like a normal suburban house in the middle of like all these warehouses now. Normal driveway, all of that. I wonder if they own maybe the land across the way. Who knows? It's just weird looking. But that's the Utah spirit I like. People that will never sell out no matter what. Yeah, this is so uncomfortable. When you go into the sport mode and it's in the firm ride and the lower ride height, extremely uncomfortable. Like, unbearable. Makes me wonder if the engineers of this car drive it before they release the tuning stuff. I understand the handling is going to be better, but this is bad. Wow, that is so uncomfortable. It's quick though. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of that. That is horrible. So, R1S, it's cool, but you know, it's still an EV. And I know some people are not gonna like that comment, but it's the truth, right? And that's how a lot of people feel, is they would rather have anything else other than an EV at this point. You know, the biggest complaint, right, is obviously the charging stuff. And I always hear the rebuttals of, well, okay, yeah, the charging network's not that great, but now they've opened up supercharging, which now there's tons of lines at supercharging, so still not that great. But still, that's a rebuttal. And then people say, well, you just charge it at home. That's another rebuttal. Still, it's just, it's a hassle to deal with. It's so much easier to fill up with gas. And I know I've lived with electric cars, like going in and just plugging in, like I get the part of that, but I don't know, it's just the whole thing of being able to just fill up in 5 minutes or less. That's the most appealing, if you ask me. And then also, you know, some of us just don't want a giant 1,000-pound battery pack radiating under our butts. Seriously, like, you know what? Too soon to tell, but maybe a bunch of people get butt cancer from these electric cars. We'll see. We will see in the future, but I don't know. I see all those, again, who knows what's true and what's not, but I see all those posts of people talking about how they get like weird radiation poisoning, this and that, from cell phones, and it's like, cell phone battery is a pipsqueak compared to this. So that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about the Rivian R1S. Holds its value better than the truck, but still, it's gonna have electric car depreciation. Once it hits that point where it has stuff that needs to be replaced that's expensive, value's gone.